Which brings us to China and its decline. Why can't they reverse it? Because their priorities have shifted. And by they, I mean the Chinese leadership, more specifically Xi Jinping. In the 1990s, China was all about reform and opening up. But now with Xi at the helm, territorial battles have taken precedence. It seems they're more important than economic growth for him. Case in point, Taiwan. Beijing wants to take Taiwan, and it's deploying new pressure tactics. Look at what happened today. Xi Jinping met Ma Ying-Jeou. He was Taiwan's president from 2008 to 2016. Ma traveled to Beijing for this meeting, and it was the first of its kind. Since 1949, since the People's Republic of China was established, no Chinese president has invited a former leader of Taiwan to Beijing. Tells you why this meeting is making waves. So what did they discuss? The reunification of Taiwan.
The distance of Taiwan Strait cannot separate the blood and flesh ties of both sides. Differences in our systems cannot change the objective facts that both sides of the Taiwan Strait belong to the same nation, the same ethnicity. Foreign interference cannot stop the historic event of a family reunion.
He's calling it a family reunion. Xi Jinping was amicable in his tone, but the purpose of this meeting is far from friendly. The Chinese president wants Taiwan to surrender. He wants to send a message to the island that they must agree to reunification or else. And for this purpose, Ma is a useful tool for Beijing. When he was Taiwan's president, he backed the idea of reunification, and even today, he is of the same opinion. He believes that Taiwan will have a better future if it is closely aligned with China.
Young people represent the future of the Chinese nation, as they are able to establish friendships at an earlier stage of their lives, which will certainly build a solid foundation for the sustainable peace and stability between both sides of the Taiwan Strait.
The last meeting between Xi Jinping and Ma Ying-Jeou was in the year 2015, when Ma was still serving as Taiwan's president. After he left office, Xi Jinping stopped engaging with Taipei. He froze all high-level communication. Now, by bringing Ma to Beijing, he's setting the new terms of engagement. Xi Jinping won't accept anything less than reunification. But there's a slight problem. The people of Taiwan reject this. Leaders like Ma Ying-Jeou are in the minority. Most Taiwanese citizens want independence from China. They support democratic leaders like Lai Ching-te. He's the incoming president of Taiwan. He won the election earlier this year, despite Beijing's best efforts. He won the election. Now, Beijing calls Lai a dangerous separatist. And before he takes oath, China is trying to build pressure on him. Soon after his victory, Beijing has launched, in fact, they launched a campaign with two clear goals. One was to isolate Taiwan, and the second, to raise the threat of invasion. In January, they succeeded in poaching an ally of Taiwan, the Pacific island of Nauru. They shifted allegiances from Taipei to Beijing. They were one of the few countries that officially recognized Taiwan. Now they do not do that anymore. Then Chinese airlines started operating civilian flights closer to the island. This is being done without Taipei's consent. And military pressure on Taiwan has also escalated. There is now a large Chinese military presence around Taiwan.
In addition to the dispute between the Philippines and China, I think everyone also knows that China has already constructed quite enormous South China Sea military bases on the three islands surrounding Taiping, Subi Reef, Fiery Cross Reef and Mischief Reef, which are all quite close to our Taiping Island. We have to include this situation in our general considerations.
A few weeks ago, some satellite pictures emerged. This is a Chinese desert, but the PLA has turned it into a training site. For what? It is believed that China uses this facility to practice for a potential invasion of Taiwan. Now look closely at these satellite pictures. This looks a lot like Taipei, especially the presidential office building in Taipei. Now experts say this mock-up is quite realistic. China has recreated the area around the presidential palace, the presidential office rather, including the roads that lead up to it. Why would the PLA need such an elaborate setup if they wanted peaceful reunification with Taiwan? The odds are stacked heavily against Beijing in this case, which is why they made a significant shift in March this year, last month. That's when the Chinese parliament met. They dropped the mention of peaceful reunification altogether. Clearly, they're exploring military alternatives. And this replica of Taipei inside China signals Xi Jinping's growing appetite for conflict. He may be recruiting friends from the island, but ultimately, he's also setting the stage to attack them.